We'll start with education. Two big changes from your first couple of budgets. One, basic ed funding is getting $90 million. That's an increase. With more block grant funding then coming possibly down the road, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And also a flat line for higher education. So that's two big changes. So let's start by talking about education and what led to these positive developments in education spending.
Well, a number of things. Number one is the economy is starting to get a little bit better, and we're seeing more revenues in. But two, much of the budget is hinged on whether we do pension reform, because we've talked about it here before. I think 62% of new expected revenues has to go to the pension if we don't do pension reform. So a lot of what we propose to do can't get done without the pension reform. But we wanted to start putting money into education. As you know, there was the federal money that the Rendell administration used in its last 2 years.
The stimulus
took out
funds.
State money, put in federal money. That was gone. That was what took us down. But in the last 2 years, we put in more state money than it's ever been in the basic education funding formula. And again, this year, this will increase it higher because there's a need out there. But on the education side, if we get pension reform, it also helps the school districts themselves because they have to match the contribution, and that will give them more money for them to put in education in their school districts.
You mentioned during the speech that the chancellors and the presidents of the universities have sort of agreed to kind of hold the line on tuition if they can. I want to ask you, is that more of a wink and a nod, or is there an actual deal? Are they going to hold the line on tuition?
Well, I think they're going to hold the line on tuition. I would certainly hope that they're not winking and nodding to me, that they're going to do the best they possibly can. I think it's incumbent upon the schools to understand that the taxpayers of Pennsylvania and the parents and students the parents who send their kids and the kids who are there can't afford to see continued increases in tuition. That's in the 5, 6, 7, 8% each year, while the taxpayers are still supplying money to the universities. And I think it's recognition on their part that they have to tighten their belts more.
Governor, ultimately, there was a similar deal reached last year with the higher education universities in Pennsylvania. Were you pleased with the results when it came time for those tuition bills to come out last year after the budget?
If I recall correctly, tuition bills were held pretty well in check. And the fact that they were willing to say, okay, we're going to continue it for another year, I think is very important and a very a good faith effort on their part to understand that we are in difficult economic times and the people of Pennsylvania can't continue to spend more and more money that's unchecked, that we aren't looking to see how we're spending their money. I've completed now 2 years, and what I've been doing is a stewardship of, I understand that this is the taxpayers' money. Whether it's going to basic education or to a block grant or to welfare or to higher education. But we all, and we in state government, have been working to reduce our spending, be as efficient as we can, get rid of any waste or abuse that we possibly can, and looking to the colleges to understand that it's time to tighten their belts, and I believe that they are doing that.